Thanks for joining me for today's 20-minute yoga. Today we're going to be working and focusing on the back, creating strength and support for people with chronic back pain or people with scoliosis. But please always remember to consult a doctor before undertaking any kind of exercise if you have one of these conditions. We're just starting with some gentle cat-cow, pushing through the hands, rounding the back and tucking the hips. Before inhaling, dropping the stomach to the floor, looking up to the sky. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Carrying on in your own time, really noticing the movement of the vertebrae of the spine, warming up through the back body and through the front body, and getting really acquainted with your deep breathing. Coming to tabletop, we're going to start to walk the hands slightly forward, keeping the knees in the same position as they were, stretching your arms forward into puppy pose. Letting your chest fall down towards the floor. Push yourself back up. We're going to come into more of a modified puppy pose. So come onto your fingertips and let your hips push back toward your heels. Pull and squeeze your shoulder blades down your back. This has the added benefit of stretching out the soles of the feet as well. So just really enjoying this lengthening stretch. Slowly coming back up onto your hands and knees. Coming into a traditional child's pose, resting your head down onto the floor with your arms either side of your body. Remember, you can always use a pillow or some props here if your head doesn't reach the floor. Start to bring yourself up to a kneeling position first, before slowly coming to your feet, keeping your knees bent as you slowly roll up through the vertebrae, letting your head and neck come up last. Now we're going to come into a very simple mountain pose, bringing the feet slightly wider than the hips, having a slight tuck to the pelvis, bringing your hands out strongly to either side of your body, shoulders pulling down the back, lengthening up through the waist and through the sides, reaching the crown of the head up towards the sky while grounding your feet into the floor. Really feel the connection of your feet hitting the floor, grounding you to the spot. You can close your eyes if this feels good for you. Breathing deep into the belly. You can exhale through the mouth or the nose, fully preparing your body for what's about to come. Just a couple more deep breaths here, really thinking about lengthening towards the sky before gently blinking your eyes open. Bringing your feet back together, hands down by your side, we're going to come into a brief tree pose. So lengthening the left side, start to balance onto the left leg. Pick your right foot up and either place it on the inside of your ankle, or if you've got the space, you can pick it up with your right hand and place your foot on the inside of the left thigh. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Pick a place to stare at to help you with balance. And if you'd like to test your balance further, you can raise your arms up towards the sky. Again, promoting length through the sides of the body. Before exhaling and releasing, bringing both feet back to the floor. I'm going to switch to the other side, bringing all your weight into your right foot. Placing the left foot on the inside of the right ankle or the right thigh. You will wobble here, that's absolutely normal. Wobbling is good for building strength, but to help you, just make sure you're staring at one point or spot just ahead of you. Bring your hands in front of your heart into a prayer position and stay here, or experiment and raise your arms up towards the sky. And exhale, release. You can shake that out, shake out through the legs and the toes. And now we're going to go and grab our chair. So bring your chair sideways on the mat, facing towards you. Bring the left foot forward and the right foot back, about hip distance between the feet, and try and pivot the hips to face forward. Inhale, look up towards the sky, and exhale, keeping your back as flat as possible. Come into a semi-forward fold. So this is a pyramid variation. What you're trying to do is pull the left hip back while squaring the right hip forward, really lengthening through the back, through the ribs, through the waist, drawing the shoulder blades down and together, creating a long line from your tailbone to your head. Next, we're going to come into a triangle pose. So instead of squaring the hips forward, we're now going to open them out towards the side. Bringing your right hand to your right hip or waist, start to open the chest and the hips out. If you feel comfortable, start to raise your right arm towards the sky, trying to keep equal length through both sets of ribs. If this is tough on your neck, you can look down towards the floor or the chair. And on your next exhale, release. Now place your right hand in the middle of the chair. We're going to twist the opposite way, so this will feel a little bit more awkward. Bring your left hand to your left hip and start to open the chest to the left hand side, continuing to pull that left hip back as far as you can. Now this may well be enough, and that's absolutely great. Please stay here. Otherwise, you can start to straighten your arm up towards the sky, just promoting more of an opening through your chest and through your neck. And exhale, start to release. Bring your hands back to the chair. Well done. Push yourself back up to standing, and we're just going to come and switch those legs. So this time, right leg forward, left leg back, about hips distance between the feet, pivoting the hips and the pelvis towards the front of the room. Inhaling, look up towards the sky, and exhaling, folding down into your pyramid variation pose. Remembering to pull that right hip back, creating all that length, making sure your breaths are deep and consistent. We're going to come into our triangle variation again, so bringing your left hand to your left hip, open the body out to the left side, letting the left arm stretch up towards the sky. So not only are you lengthening vertically through your spine, you're also pulling your arms apart from each other, so you're broadening through the chest and through the back. Exhale, release back down. We'll switch sides with the hands, bringing the right hand to the right hip, pulling the right hip back as far as you can, and opening your chest to the right hand side. You can keep your hand on your hip, or you can open your arm up towards the sky. You should feel a really good stretch down the back leg as well, through the calf and through the hamstring. So we're hitting all points of the body today. Bring both hands back to the chair. Inhale, straighten out. And exhale, fold over. Now we're going to come to a forward fold here, so bring both feet together, both hands pressed into the chair, and while pulling your hips back, pull through the arms and the chest, so you're creating lots of length through the upper back. To get deeper into this stretch, start to bend your knees, bringing your chest and your torso closer to your thighs. So we're not trying to do a back bend with this pose. All our energy is moving backwards rather than forwards. Almost as if we've got someone holding onto our hips and someone holding onto our arms, pulling us apart. Exhale, straighten out. Come back to center and move the chair off to the side. Now we're going to come down to a laying position and grab your strap if you have one with you. If not, you can use a tea towel, a tie, a belt, anything you have to hand. We're just going to bring both feet to the floor, knees bent, neutral pelvis. To begin with, just take a couple of breaths here, just really feeling into the pressure of the floor, pressure of your body on the floor, bit of connection, bit of grounding before we go on to our hip work. We're going to grab hold of our right leg and just hook the strap over the ball of the right foot. To begin with, keep the left leg bent. Now you may be able to straighten your leg out like I'm doing here. If this feels too much, please bend your knee, or you can always have your leg at a lower angle. You're still getting the same stretch, so don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just like in our pyramid pose, we're trying to push the right hip away while pulling the right leg closer. Stay here, or you can start to straighten your left leg out, but instead of letting it lay passively on the floor, I want you to flex very strongly through the foot, and again act as if someone is holding onto that foot and trying to pull it out of its socket. So you got these two incredible opposing pulling sensations, stretching through the right leg and through the left. Transfer the strap over into your right hand and the toes out and the heels in, and start to open your right leg out to the side. Now again, it doesn't matter how far you come here, what you want to make sure is that your left leg and your left hip are not coming up off the floor. If they are, you've gone too far, and I want you to come back to center, reassess and try again. On your next exhale, start to roll back to center, leg up towards the sky, and release the toes down to the floor. Shake out through your hips and feet. You might be able to feel a bit of difference between the sides. I'm going to switch to the other side, so bringing the legs back to a bent position. Start to hook the strap over the left foot, straightening the leg up towards the sky, or bent, or at an angle. While you're holding this position, try to make sure that your right knee is not falling inwards. You want more of an outward rotation through that hip. And if you feel comfortable, start to straighten that right leg out. And remembering what we did on the other side, flexing strongly through the feet, creating those two opposing pull sensations. Take the strap into the left hand, toes out, heel in, keeping your right hip firmly anchored to the floor, and letting your left leg slowly open outwards. Remember not to go too far if it means that your hip or your leg are lifting. You can use your hand to remind yourself, otherwise letting your arm fall open to the side. And come back up to center, taking off the strap and just putting it to one side, letting your feet fall to the floor, again shaking out all that work. Hug both knees in tight and just do a couple of rocks side to side, just neutralizing your back after all of that work. We're going to come into a very gentle side twist. So either keeping your arms long either side of your body or clasped behind your head and neck. Gently move your hips over to the left-hand side. Bring your knees in and let them fall over to the right. So with your hands behind your head is a slightly stronger stretch. If this is too much, Try the variation with your arms by your sides. Otherwise, focus on pushing that top hip away from you, opening up through the chest, and continuing to deep breathe, relaxing into the floor. Inhale, come back up to center. Bring your toes down briefly to move your hips over to the right hand side and drop your knees over to the left. Again, choosing any variation you'd like, peeling the top hip away from the torso, creating a long line of length through your ribs and through your hips. Feeling your collarbones, your chest open, your throat open. Feeling the sensation of wringing out your body. Come back through center and just gently roll into a fetal position on your right hand side, using your right arm as a bit of a pillow, keeping your knees tucked up and bent. Now you can use this as your final relaxation. This is a very comfortable position for a lot of people. Otherwise, come into your relaxation position of choice, either legs up the wall, stretched out, or you can come to a gentle seated position with your hands resting on your knees. Now, if you can, try and stay in this restful position for up to around 5 minutes, really appreciating the work you've put into your body. Maybe doing one last stretch side to side, just releasing, making sure you're not holding any tension in your jaw. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that I see you again next week and that this gives you a little bit of relief from your back pains. Please like and subscribe for more. Thanks again. Bye.